Imagine this. Two friends leave the same bank on the same afternoon. Both have saved exactly the same amount of money. Both have spent years dreaming about owning property. Both are determined to build a better future for themselves and their families. Let's call them Daniel and Sarah. But standing outside the bank, they make two completely different decisions. Daniel buys a piece of land. No house. No electricity. No water connection. Just an empty plot with endless possibilities. Sarah buys an existing house. The keys are handed over that very day. That night, she sleeps under her own roof. 5 years later. Who made the smarter decision? Most people answer that question almost instantly. Buy the land. After all, we've all heard the advice. Land never depreciates. They're not making any more land. Buy land today, thank yourself tomorrow. It's advice repeated by parents, friends, property agents, and even successful investors. But what if the answer isn't that simple? What if buying land first is the smartest decision for one person, and the worst possible decision for another? What if buying a house immediately isn't a shortcut, but a strategic advantage? The truth is, people often ask the wrong question. Instead of asking, which is better? They should be asking, which is better for me? Because property decisions are rarely about finding one perfect answer. They're about finding the right answer for your circumstances. In our last investigation, we discovered that even the best architectural drawings cannot rescue poor construction. Before that, we learned that the wrong piece of land can quietly destroy a dream before the first foundation is ever poured. Today, we're stepping back even further. Before choosing land, before approving drawings, before hiring a contractor, there's an even bigger decision waiting to be made. Should you buy land first? Or should you buy a house? It's one of the biggest financial choices many people will ever make. And surprisingly, it's also one of the most misunderstood. Because this isn't simply a property decision. It's a decision about time, money, risk, lifestyle, opportunity, and the future you're trying to build. Throughout this investigation, we'll follow Daniel and Sarah's two paths. We'll uncover the hidden costs people rarely discuss. We'll challenge some of the most common advice in real estate. And by the end, you won't just know which option can work. You'll understand which option is more likely to work for you. Because at Brick and Brain, we don't tell you what to think. We help you make smarter property decisions. Let's begin with one of the oldest beliefs in real estate. The idea that buying land should always come first. Walk into almost any conversation about property, and sooner or later someone will say it. If you have money, buy land. It's one of those statements that sounds so obvious it rarely gets questioned. Land is often described as the safest investment, the smartest investment, the first investment. And there are good reasons why people believe it. Land is limited. Cities expand. Populations grow. Infrastructure improves. Over long periods, well-located land has often increased in value. So where did this belief come from? Part of it comes from history. Many families have watched land purchased decades ago become significantly more valuable over time. Stories of people buying inexpensive plots that later became thriving neighborhoods are everywhere. Those stories are real. But they don't tell the whole story. Because we usually hear about the successful investments. We rarely hear about the land that remained undeveloped for years. The plots tied up in legal disputes. The areas where promised infrastructure never arrived. Or the buyers who spent so much holding on to vacant land that they postponed building for far longer than they expected. Brick and Brain reality check. Let's be direct about the myth from the opening. Land never depreciates. It absolutely can. Title disputes. Planning restrictions. Environmental issues. Infrastructure that never arrives. Falling demand. A shifting economy. Any one of those can quietly erase value that people assume is guaranteed. Land is not automatically a good investment. Good decisions create good investments. A piece of land has no magic. Its value depends on location, legal security, infrastructure, demand, planning, and the purpose for which you bought it. Now imagine two buyers. The first buys land because everyone told them it was the right thing to do. The second buys land because they have a clear construction timeline, understand the costs ahead, and have confirmed the site suits their long-term goals. Both own land. But only one has a strategy. Ownership without a plan can become expensive. That's something many first-time buyers discover too late. Because buying land feels like progress. You receive documents. You visit the site. You imagine your future home. Friends congratulate you. Family members celebrate. Psychologically, it feels like you've arrived. But in reality, you may have only reached the starting line. Buying land doesn't complete the journey. It begins it. And everything that follows still has to be funded. Site preparation. Design. Approvals. Construction. Utilities. Finishes. For many homeowners, buying the land is only the first major expense. The costs that follow can be substantially larger. That doesn't mean buying land is a mistake. Far from it. For many people, it's exactly the right decision. The mistake is believing it's automatically the right decision for everyone. Brick and brain field note. Never buy land simply because someone says, it's always a good investment. Instead, ask a better question. What role will this land play in my overall financial plan? That single question changes the conversation completely. Because property is never just about what you're buying. It's about what you're trying to achieve. But even when buying land is the right choice, there's something else waiting quietly in the background. A cost that doesn't appear on the purchase agreement. A cost that grows with every passing year. And for many people, it's the reason their dream home stays a dream far longer than they ever imagined. Imagine buying a beautiful piece of land today. The paperwork is complete. The boundaries are clear. The location feels promising. You stand on the site and picture the house you'll build one day. You tell yourself, I'll start construction next year. Then life happens. An unexpected expense. A new job. A growing family. Another financial priority. 1 year becomes 2. 2 becomes 5. And before you realize it, the house that once felt just around the corner still exists only in your imagination. The land hasn't disappeared. But the cost of building has quietly changed. This is one of the biggest realities of property ownership. Buying land freezes the purchase price of the land. It does not freeze the cost of construction. Every year, building materials can become more expensive. Labor rates can change. Regulations may evolve. Infrastructure costs may increase. Even small annual increases can compound into a significantly larger project budget over time. Brick and brain reality check. Many people celebrate buying land because they believe they've secured the most difficult part of the journey. In reality, they've only secured the place where the journey will happen. The biggest financial commitment may still be ahead. Let's check in on Daniel and Sarah again. Daniel buys his land and lets several years pass before he's ready to build. Sarah is already settled into her home. By the time Daniel is finally ready to break ground, Sarah has already spent years living in her property. She's enjoyed stability. She's avoided years of rent. She's gradually built equity through ownership. Meanwhile, Daniel still hasn't started construction, because the original budget no longer covers today's building costs. Neither of them made a foolish decision. But their timelines have already created very different outcomes. This is why time matters just as much as money. A delayed project isn't only delayed. It can also become more expensive. Then there are the costs many buyers never consider. Vacant land often requires maintenance. Vegetation may need clearing. Boundary markers may need replacing. Security can become a concern in some areas. If infrastructure is still developing, access roads or utility connections may take years to arrive. These may seem like small issues individually. Together, they can become meaningful holding costs. Another hidden challenge is changing priorities. The house you dreamed of building at 28 may not be the house your family needs at 38. Children arrive. Careers change. Parents grow older. Remote work becomes common. Lifestyle evolves. Sometimes the land remains perfect. Sometimes your plans no longer do. Brick and Brain field note. Before buying land, don't ask only, "Can I afford this plot today?" Also ask, "Can I realistically afford to build within the time frame I've planned?" That second question is often more important than the first. Because land is patient. It can wait for years. But your financial circumstances may not remain the same. Now, none of this means buying land first is the wrong decision. For many people, it provides flexibility. It allows them to secure a location they love. It gives them time to save for construction. It lets them design a home that truly reflects their needs. Those are genuine advantages. But they only become advantages when there's a realistic plan behind them. Buying land without a construction strategy is a little like buying all the ingredients for a meal without knowing when you'll cook it. The ingredients may still be valuable. But time changes everything. And while Daniel is still waiting to build, Sarah is already living in a home she owns. That raises an important question. Is buying an existing house simply the easier option? Or could it actually be the smarter financial decision for some people? Let's investigate what happens when you choose the keys instead of the empty plot. There's something powerful about opening the front door of a home that already exists. The walls are standing. The roof is complete. The windows are installed. The lights switch on. The water runs. And within hours, you can begin living the life you've been planning for years. For many people, that's the greatest advantage of buying a house. Time. Because while someone else is still planning drawings, applying for approvals, interviewing contractors, comparing building materials, and waiting for construction to finish, you're already home. That doesn't mean buying an existing house is always the better decision. But it does mean you're solving a different problem. You're buying certainty. The construction has already happened. The major decisions have already been made. The neighborhood already exists. You can see the roads. You can observe traffic. You can hear the surrounding noise. You can visit the property in the morning, the afternoon, or during heavy rain. You're evaluating something real. Not something that's still on paper. Brick and Brain reality check. A completed house removes many uncertainties. But it also removes many choices. You don't decide where the kitchen goes. You don't choose the orientation of the bedrooms. You don't influence the structural design. You're accepting decisions someone else made. Sometimes those decisions suit your lifestyle perfectly. Sometimes they don't. Imagine walking into a beautiful home. The finishes are elegant. The location is excellent. The landscaping is impressive. But after a few visits, you notice something. The kitchen feels disconnected from the dining area. The bedrooms receive harsh afternoon sun. Storage is limited. The garage barely fits your vehicle. The house isn't poorly built. It simply wasn't designed for your family. This is one of the biggest trade-offs. Building gives you customization. Buying gives you convenience. Neither is automatically better. They simply prioritize different values. Now let's talk about money. Many buyers assume purchasing an existing house is always more expensive than buying land and building later. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it isn't. When you build, costs arrive in stages. Land. Design. Approvals. Foundation. Structure. Roof. Electrical work. Plumbing. Finishes. Landscaping. Unexpected changes. Unexpected delays. Unexpected price increases. With an existing house, most of those costs have already been combined into a single purchase price. That doesn't eliminate risk. It simply changes where the risk exists. Instead of worrying about construction quality during the build, you need to investigate what was built before you arrived. That's why inspections matter. A freshly painted wall can hide moisture problems. A beautiful ceiling may conceal roof leaks. New flooring can cover structural movement. Modern finishes can distract buyers from expensive underlying defects. Brick and brain field note. Never confuse a renovated house with a well-built house. Cosmetic improvements are easy to see. Construction quality often isn't. That's why every serious buyer should look beyond appearances. Ask questions. Review maintenance records where available. Inspect the roof. Check drainage around the property. Look for signs of movement, dampness, poor repairs, or recurring maintenance issues. If necessary, bring qualified professionals into the process. The cost of an inspection is often small compared with the cost of discovering major defects after you've moved in. Now consider another advantage many buyers overlook. If you're financing your purchase, an existing home may allow you to move in while gradually building ownership through your repayments. Instead of paying rent while saving for construction, your monthly housing payments may be contributing toward a property you already own. That doesn't make buying a house the right choice for everyone. But it changes the financial conversation. Because the comparison is no longer just land versus house. It's also waiting versus living. Planning versus occupying. Future comfort versus immediate stability. And that's where this investigation becomes even more interesting. Because once we stop thinking only about purchase prices, we begin asking a much bigger question. Which decision actually builds more wealth over the long term? The answer surprises many people. And it depends on far more than the property itself. Let's imagine something that almost never happens during property conversations. Instead of debating opinions, let's stop talking about this only in theory. Let's put Daniel and Sarah's decisions under the microscope. Not as a prediction. Not as a promise of what property prices will do. As an illustration of how different assumptions can produce very different outcomes. Both start with the same amount of available cash, $100,000. But they use it differently. Daniel buys land. Sarah uses it as the initial equity toward an existing home. And that's important. We're not pretending the two properties cost the same. We're asking a different question. What happens when two people start with the same $100,000 but choose two very different property strategies? We're going to follow them through 4 checkpoints. Their starting position. Where they stand after 5 years. What each strategy actually costs along the way. And finally, what each person is left holding. This is where the comparison gets interesting. Checkpoint 1. The starting position. Daniel buys a plot of land for $100,000. He doesn't need a house immediately, so he plans to build 5 years later. For this illustration, let's assume the land increases in value by 4% per year. After 5 years, the land would be worth roughly $122,000. On paper, Daniel has made money. But there's another number sitting quietly in the background. The house he planned to build. When Daniel created his original plan, he estimated construction would cost $200,000. 5 years later, suppose that same project now costs $250,000. The exact increase will depend on the location, materials, labor, design, inflation, and many other factors. But the lesson is simple. Daniel's land became more valuable. His construction project also became more expensive. An increase in land value does not automatically make the future house more affordable. Now look at Sarah. Sarah also has $100,000. Instead of buying land, she uses that money as the initial equity toward a $300,000 house. The remaining $200,000 is financed. That immediately creates a different financial picture. Sarah can move into the house. But she also takes on a mortgage. And a mortgage isn't simply free money. She has interest. She may have insurance. She may have property taxes, depending on where she lives. She has maintenance. She has repairs. And she has the costs associated with buying and eventually selling property. So we cannot simply say, Sarah bought a house, therefore she won. That would be just as misleading as saying, Daniel bought land, therefore he won. We need to look deeper. Checkpoint 2. 5 years later. Daniel owns land worth roughly $122,000 under our hypothetical assumption. But he still doesn't own the house he originally wanted to build. If construction now requires $250,000, Daniel needs to find that money before the project can become a completed home. His land has appreciated. But his future construction liability has also grown. Now Sarah. Sarah has been living in her house for 5 years. Her mortgage balance has declined as she makes principal payments. But how much it declines depends on the interest rate, loan term, payment structure, and whether she makes additional payments. So rather than pretending there is one universal answer, we need to make the assumptions explicit. For example, suppose Sarah's $200,000 mortgage carries a hypothetical fixed interest rate and a standard 30-year amortization. Over 5 years, she will have made 60 monthly payments. Part of those payments goes toward interest. Part goes toward reducing the principal. That means her equity can grow in 2 different ways. The property itself may become more valuable. And the amount she owes may gradually fall. Her equity is essentially property value minus outstanding debt. But there's a catch. If the house loses value, Sarah's equity can fall. If the house requires major repairs, her true financial position is affected. And if she paid too much for the property in the first place, appreciation may not rescue a bad purchase. So once again, neither strategy is automatically the winner. Checkpoint 3. What did they actually pay? This is where property comparisons often become misleading. People look at the purchase price and stop there. But the purchase price isn't the entire cost. Daniel may face land registration and legal costs, site security, vegetation clearing, surveying, planning and approvals, design fees, construction, infrastructure, and potentially years of rising construction costs. Sarah may face mortgage interest, insurance, property taxes where applicable, maintenance, repairs, legal and transaction costs, and the cost of financing. So the real question isn't which property was more expensive. It's what did each strategy cost them to own, use, and maintain? That's a much more useful question. And there's another cost hiding underneath both decisions. Opportunity cost. Daniel's $100,000 is tied up in land. Sarah's $100,000 is tied up as equity in a house. But what if part of that money had been invested somewhere else? What if they had bought a cheaper property and invested the difference? What if Daniel had delayed the land purchase and built a larger cash reserve? What if Sarah had chosen a less expensive house and invested more of her income? These questions matter because money has alternatives. Every financial decision means giving up something else. That's opportunity cost. Checkpoint 4. What are they actually left holding? Now imagine Daniel's land is worth $122,000. He owns it outright. No mortgage. But he still needs to fund construction if his goal is to live there. Sarah owns a house. But she still owes money on the mortgage. Her net position depends on three things: what the house is worth, how much she still owes, and how much she has spent maintaining and financing it. This is why property wealth cannot be measured by appreciation alone. You have to consider debt, cash flow, maintenance, financing, taxes where applicable, transaction costs, time, and opportunity cost. Now let's make the comparison even more uncomfortable. Suppose Daniel's land appreciates much faster than expected because a major road, school, commercial district, or other infrastructure arrives nearby. His strategy could turn out extremely well. But suppose development never arrives. Suppose infrastructure is delayed. Suppose demand remains weak. His expected appreciation may never materialize. Now reverse it. Suppose Sarah buys a house in an excellent location at a fair price. The area develops. Demand increases. Her property appreciates while her mortgage balance gradually declines. Her position could strengthen significantly. But suppose she buys an overpriced house with hidden structural problems. Suddenly, the convenience of buying an existing property becomes much less attractive. This is the real lesson. Property doesn't reward a strategy simply because it sounds intelligent. It rewards good decisions made under the right circumstances. And that's why the question, should I buy land or a house, is incomplete. The better question is, what am I trying to accomplish, and which strategy gives me the best chance of accomplishing it without putting my finances under unnecessary pressure? If Daniel has a stable income, doesn't need a home immediately, has a realistic construction timeline, and buys land in an area with genuine long-term demand, his strategy can make sense. If Sarah needs a home now, has stable income, finds a fairly priced property in a suitable location, and can comfortably manage the mortgage and ongoing ownership costs, her strategy can make sense too. But if either person is stretching their finances so far that one unexpected setback could destroy the plan, neither strategy is smart. Because affordability isn't simply, can I afford to buy it? Affordability is, can I still afford my life after buying it? That distinction can save you from years of financial stress. And this is where Daniel and Sarah finally teach us something more important than whether land beats a house. The smartest property decision isn't necessarily the one with the highest theoretical return. It's the one you can realistically sustain. A property should build your future without destroying your financial resilience today. Brick and brain reality check. Don't compare property strategies by asking which one looks richer on paper. Compare them by asking which one leaves you financially stronger, more flexible, and better positioned for the life you're actually trying to build. So, who should actually buy land first, the way Daniel did? And who is likely to be better served by buying a house instead, the way Sarah did? Let's find out. Let's begin with the people who are often well suited to buying land first. Imagine someone with a stable income. No urgent need to move immediately. A clear construction timeline. And enough financial capacity to continue saving after purchasing the land. For that person, buying land can be a strategic first step. It secures a location they believe in. It gives them time to carefully design a home around their family's needs. It allows them to build in stages if necessary. And if the area develops well over time, they may also benefit from long-term appreciation. But notice something important. None of those advantages happen automatically. They depend on planning, discipline, and execution. Buying land without a realistic path to construction can turn a valuable asset into a delayed dream. Now let's look at someone else. Perhaps they're paying high rent every month. Their workplace is stable. They've found a home in a location that suits their lifestyle. Their priority isn't designing a custom house. Their priority is stability. For that person, buying a completed home may be the stronger choice. Instead of waiting years to begin enjoying ownership, they begin immediately. Instead of paying rent while saving for construction, they're already living in the property they've invested in. Their monthly housing costs become part of a long-term ownership journey. Again, this isn't because houses are always better than land. It's because different goals require different solutions. Brick and brain reality check. Myth: successful people always buy land first. Reality: successful people choose the property strategy that matches their financial reality, timeline, and long-term objectives. Another important question is experience. Building a home is a major project. It requires decisions about design, budget, materials, contractors, quality control, time management, unexpected problems, and sometimes difficult compromises. Some people enjoy that process. Others find it overwhelming. There is no shame in either answer. Knowing yourself is part of making a smart property decision. Now think about your family's future. Will your household grow over the next few years? Are you likely to relocate for work? Do you expect your income to change significantly? Could elderly parents eventually live with you? Would you prefer flexibility today or customization tomorrow? These questions matter just as much as the purchase price. Because property isn't simply an investment. It's the place where your life happens. Some viewers watching this investigation should absolutely buy land first. Others should seriously consider buying a completed house. And some may discover that the smartest decision is to wait a little longer until their financial position becomes stronger. There is wisdom in patience when patience has a purpose. The real mistake isn't choosing land. The real mistake isn't choosing a house. The real mistake is making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life without understanding the trade-offs. So before you sign anything, before you transfer the money, before you commit years of your income, stop and ask yourself 7 questions. Question 1. Why am I buying this property? Is it to live in? To invest? To build later? Or simply because everyone around me says I should? Your purpose should guide the purchase. Question 2. Do I have a realistic timeline? If I buy land today, when will construction actually begin? Next year? 5 years? Or do I honestly have no clear plan? Question 3. Can I comfortably afford everything that comes after the purchase? Not just the land. Not just the house. Think about approvals, legal costs, utilities, maintenance, insurance, repairs, financing, unexpected expenses. Buying is only the beginning. Question 4. Which option supports my life today? Do I need somewhere to live immediately? Or can I comfortably wait while preparing to build? Question 5. Am I making this decision because it fits my goals? Or because it fits someone else's expectations? Never spend years paying for a decision made to impress people who won't pay the bills. Question 6. Have I properly investigated what I'm buying? If it's land, confirm ownership, title, access, planning restrictions, drainage, and the surrounding development outlook. If it's a house, look beyond fresh paint and attractive finishes. Inspect the structure, the roof, drainage, electrical and plumbing systems, signs of dampness, cracks, poor alterations, and recurring maintenance problems. Question 7. If my circumstances changed tomorrow, would this decision still make sense? That final question may be the most important one. Because life changes. Income changes. Families grow. People relocate. Businesses fail. Careers change. And a property decision that looks perfect today can become a burden tomorrow if it leaves you with no room to adapt. Brick and brain decision point. Imagine yourself 10 years from today. Which decision would leave you sleeping better at night? The one that looked impressive when you bought it? Or the one that quietly supported your life every day? Because property isn't ultimately about impressing people. It's about creating security, opportunity, and a better place to live. Brick and brain rule number 5. Don't buy the property everyone says you should own. Buy the property that best serves the life you're trying to build. That's the difference between following property advice and making a property decision. If this investigation changed the way you think about land and houses, share it with someone currently facing that decision. One conversation today could prevent years of expensive regret. And if you want more evidence-based investigations that help you make smarter property decisions, subscribe to Brick and Brain, like this video, and turn on notifications. Because every episode is designed to help you avoid costly mistakes before they happen. I'm James. And this is Brick and Brain. Building smarter property decisions. But we're not finished. Because now we've answered one question. Should you buy land or a house first? The next question is even more uncomfortable. If you already have the land, is building your own house actually cheaper than buying one that's already built? Many people assume building gives you more value. Others believe buying is faster, safer, and financially smarter. But what if the option that looks cheaper at the beginning ends up costing you more? What happens when we add design fees, approvals, site work, professional fees, financing, delays, variations, contractor risk, maintenance, and the value of your own time? That's the investigation we're taking on next. Before you decide whether to build or buy, you need to see the full cost of both. Because the cheapest option on paper isn't always the cheapest option in real life.